morning. What I without life, no project. Because these 2 days I have the privilege of teaching. means marriage establishes a new primary human relationship with appropriate boundaries. Your mother cannot run your marriage. Your father cannot run your marriage. Your friends cannot run your marriage. Facebook cannot run your marriage. WhatsApps cannot run your marriage. Social media cannot run your marriage. Society cannot run your marriage because from the beginning, before societies, God established the design He wants for marriage. Are you with me? Even your children should not replace the husband-wife relationship, because without marriage, as the tree, there are no branches that produce their fruit. So when you neglect the tree to focus on the fruits, now the children have nowhere to attach, because the branches should attach to the tree. So when you neglect the marriage, you may lose the fatherhood. No, you may lose the husband and the wife. Psychologically, a healthy marriage required something called differentiation. Differentiation means I can remain connected to the people I love without allowing them to control the marriage I am building. Cleaving means holding closely, attaching, remaining committed, and continuing to turn toward your spouse. Marriage cannot simply because you chose each other 20 years ago. Healthy marriage requires continually choosing each other today. I've been married for 25 years. But it's not because of the length that we are married. It is because we choose each other every day. Oneness doesn't mean losing your personality. Opinions, gifts, interests, or individuality. God doesn't erase two people to create one person. Oneness is unity without the destruction of individuality. We remain two distinct persons, but we increasingly learn to function as one relational unit. One team, one partenariat, one shared life. That's what it means to cleave. Second, legally married doesn't automatically mean relationally one. Most of you forgot already the person who gave you the certificate when you went to the courthouse. Do you remember his name or her name? Yeah. Do you think that's the reason you're still together? Because of that person gave you the certificate? That's just the job. This is where the distinction between legal marriage, listen, this is the distinction, this is where the distinction between legal marriage and relational oneness becomes important. The law can recognize that two people are married. The law can recognize that. But the law cannot create intimacy. A certificate can establish marital status, rights, and responsibilities, but a certificate cannot make you listen, communicate, forgive, apologize, remain faithful, show affection, become emotionally available, resolve conflict, or treat your spouse as a partner, not as an enemy. A certificate cannot do that. Legal marriage answers the question, what is our recognized societal marital status? Biblical oneness asks, are we actually living toward one another, not away from one another? Are we becoming one? Some couples have mastered the first while neglecting the second. Everybody outside sees the wedding pictures and says, what a beautiful couple. But inside the house, there is resentment, contempt, silence, power struggles, score keeping, emotional distance, and competition. I paid for this. You didn't do that. That's my money. That's your responsibility. I am not apologizing until you apologize. At that point, marriage becomes me versus you instead of us together. And competition is dangerous in marriage because competition requires two things: winners and losers. If I must defeat you to win an argument, my spouse loses. But if my spouse continually loses, our marriage eventually loses. Kingdom marriage changes the question from who is right to what does our relationship need. What does becoming one actually look like in marriage? Most of us know Genesis 2 verse 24, but not a lot of us learn how to use it practically every day. So let's make oneness first practical. Number one, oneness means shared purpose. Shared purpose. What does oneness mean? Healthy couples periodically ask, what are we building together? What are we building together? What do we want for our marriage? What do we want for our family? What do we want for our finances? What decisions consider the well, not how will this make me happy? That little word us represents a major psychological and kingdom shift. Jesus always thinks of his Father, us. Joseph thought of God's presence. How would I do that against God? He's thinking about how this decision will affect my relationship with God. I always tell couples, if you cannot pay the consequences, don't make the decision alone. Everyone who's going to pay the consequence with you should be part of the process of making the decision. And once they are part of the decision-making process, they will be committed to paying the consequences together with you. Right? Third, oneness requires emotional safety. Emotional safety. Can your husband or wife tell you, I am hurt, I am afraid, I am lonely, I need you? What you said affected me, without immediately being attacked, dismissed, mocked, preached at, or corrected? You say you are married, and your spouse cannot feel emotionally safe enough to say, I am hurt, without the fear of being attacked, corrected, dismissed, preached at, and you are married? If you're not available emotionally for your spouse, who should be available for your spouse? Sometimes your spouse doesn't need you to solve the emotion. We don't need a communication problem. Your understanding of oneness changes how we fight, will protect the well-being of your relationship. It's not me versus you. It's us versus the problem. Are you with me? Finally, oneness means mutual responsibility without unhealthy dependence. Your well-being matters to me because what affects you eventually affects us. That doesn't mean controlling each other, losing individuality, accepting mistreatment, or tolerating abuse. Biblical oneness should never be used to justify domination. or erase healthy boundaries. It means I care about your flourishing. You care about mine. And together, we take responsibility for the health of what we are building. At least I have a brother with me. Thank God. Thank you, my brother. That means a lot. I feel like I'm not alone. We're learning what marriage should be. Let me give you a test. The roommate test. Let's see if you pass that test. The roommate test. Here's a practical test for every married couple watching us and those of you who are here today. Imagine someone observe your marriage for 7 days but didn't know you are married. The roommate test. What did you hear that I say? Imagine someone observe your marriage for how many days? 7 days, but didn't know you were married. They watch how you communicate, how you disagree, how you handle money, how you make decisions, how you show affection, how you speak about each other. Not how you speak with each other only, but how you speak when when your spouse is there. How you're speaking to other people about your spouse. How much intentional time you spend together. How you repair after conflict. At the end of those 7 days, would that person say, those two people are building a life together? Or would they say, they look like two independent people sharing one address? Bills, responsibilities, and children. That's the difference we are talking about. Are we married according to God's perspective, or we are simply together legally? You can be legally married while relationally functioning like roommates. Genesis calls us beyond merely occupying the same space toward becoming one. Here's the Love Kingdom Challenge. 3 questions. Here's your practical challenge this week. Not tomorrow. This week. Not yesterday. This week. Find 15 minutes. How much? 15 minutes. Don't tell me you don't have 15 minutes for your marriage. You are married, supposed to live to live, and you don't have 15 minutes for what you consider to be a marriage? Turn off the television. Put down the phones. Sit together and ask three simple questions. What did you hear that I said? Before that, before all that, 5-15 minutes. Then turn off the TV, put down the phone, sit to, and ask 3 questions. First, where do you feel most connected to me right now? No interruption, no defending, no problem solving. Just listen. Where do you feel most connected to me right? Not yesterday. Now. You cannot conjugate love and the past. What you ate yesterday, can you now? You need to eat today. What's the first question? Where do you feel most connected to me right now? Second, 2 individuals, then team. When your spouse answers, do not immediately defend yourself. Listen. Where do you feel we are functioning more like 2 individuals than one team? Then we exchange words. Okay? Then ask the third question. Listen carefully to the third one. What is one small thing, not a big thing, one small thing I could do this week that will help you feel that we are more of a team? What is one small thing I could do this week that would help you feel that we are more of a team? Don't ask for 10 things. Start with 1, then do it. Every season is different. I create a theory called have 5 P's. The first P is the principle of attraction. That's how we came together. Most people want to be attracted to each other for life. Impossible. We change. We change. When I look at the picture of my wife when she was 20, and looking at her picture today, I see differences. So the picture of 20 attracted me. The picture of 40 requires that I adapt. It is fair because life changes. I need to adapt to this new reality and say, what do I need in this season to keep loving her? To keep choosing her without comparing the 20 with now. What does she need now to feel connected with me? That's the principle of adaptation. Right? Because you cannot put an expiring date on love. You can learn how to love in every season. Every season will require different behaviors. Right? Every season is different. I used to run playing soccer. That was one season of my life. I cannot do that now. But I still love soccer. At one point, I was playing it. Maybe I can still show my love for it now by watching it. Or supporting someone who's doing it. It's a new season. So you can be attracted to each other in every season. But don't compare the seasons. But learn how to adapt to the new reality. Right? Then you move to the principle of acceptance. I've been trying to change you for many years. I realize I cannot. I accept you because I love you. I quit. I quit. Let me focus on changing myself instead of changing you. I quit. I remember there was a couple who came to me. They were engaging in the blame game. You know the blame game? It's you. It's you. No, it's you. It's the blame game. Reminds me of Adam and Eve. It's me. No, it's you. It's the woman. The blame game. Everybody's trying to be right. But when you're trying to be right, who loses? The relationship. And finally, I tell the man, I got a challenge for you. See, what's the challenge? Are you perfect? Oh, no, not at all. Are you sure you're not perfect? See, that's the way you're blaming her is like you are perfect. Oh, no, I'm not perfect. Ladies, are you perfect? Oh, no. The way you're blaming him is like you are. And I said, I remember the Master, Jesus Christ, and I use his principle. I said, let's say, for example, your spouse is 99% wrong. Right? Your spouse is, you say you're not perfect, so at least you have a percentage. Let's say your spouse is 99% wrong. Yeah. And you are 1% wrong. And you look at me and say, no, give me more than one. I don't think I only have one. I said, just for the sake of what I'm trying to teach you, let's stick with 1%. Your spouse, your wife is 99%. Because you say you're not perfect, but you got 1% imperfection. Your spouse got 99. Then I said, I'm going to give you an option to choose between 1 and 99. Now you have the option to choose between solving 99 problems and solving one problem. I said, which one do you think will be easier for you to solve? What would you say? The 99? The one. You see, oh, I see where you're going. I said, where I'm going? I must focus on my 1%? I said, yeah. It's easier because that's what you can control. That's why Jesus Christ called the Pharisees hypocrites. You see what? Difference between speck and oftentimes we think that people's problems are bigger than our problems, and we focus on changing them instead of working on what we can control. I can yell at Jenny. God will hold me accountable for yelling at her. She can yell back. God will hold her accountable for her response. She cannot tell God, He yells at me, that's the reason. You understand what I'm saying? He started it in the garden. Say, Adam, what happened? The woman, that won't fly with me, Adam. You got your responsibility. Are we becoming one? A wedding can make your marriage public. A wedding can make your marriage public. And the law can make your marriage legally recognized. But neither one by itself can make your marriage healthy. God designs in Genesis takes us deeper. Live, cleave, become one. So don't only celebrate, we have been married 5 years. We have been married 10 years. We have been married 20 years. We have been married 30 years. What's your number? Yeah. 2.5 years. Ask the more important question. After all these years, 3, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, are we becoming more one? If you are becoming worse, more independent, you are shifting away from the marriage, even though you have been together for that many years. The more important question after all these years, are we becoming more one, or are we simply becoming better at living independently together? Without knowing the person by experience, you say, I love you. Now you know the person by experience through living together. That should give you more insight on how to love. Divorces in marriage will determine the quality of the relationship we have with one another. God is the source that gives us the resources to do what He designed for marriage. So if we fail to prioritize our relationship with God, then we will not have the spiritual qualities that we need to give to one another, such as love unconditionally, such as forgiving one another, such as serving one another, repair quickly after a conflict. Don't go to bed without resolving the conflict. How will we do these things if we neglect our relationship with God? That's the greatest divorce, in my opinion. Because this is where your marriage will either striving or destroying. The second divorce is emotional disconnection. You're still present together, but emotionally disconnected. Yet we are fighting for the legal status. I don't want to get divorced. What do you think they're referring to? The legal status. But those two divorces will lead to the legal one. God made marriage and you want to put God out of it? How are you going to live it? You don't want to understand. You prioritize correction. All right? You prioritize correction over connection. And you expect to connect with your spouse emotionally. You are quick to solve problems instead of slow to speak. Slow to speak. Right? Slow to, quick to listen. We change it around. We are quick to speak, slow to listen, yet we want to be connected. We got to have it right. My perspective is always right. I know it all. You don't tell me what to do, and you want to connect? You dismiss my feelings. You are condemning me. You are criticizing me. Yet you want me to. I don't feel safe to connect with you. So if you don't pay attention to the spiritual divorce, if you don't pay attention to the emotional disconnection, eventually it's going to become public. Then marriage will become a burden instead of a blessing. And then you're going to want to leave it. I tell people, try marriage before you think about a divorce. Just try marriage first. Once again, becoming one doesn't mean you lose your individuality. When you take lemon, why? To make it one with water, with sugar. How do you call it? Oh, it still has its identity, lemonade. Then you know it is a mixture of water, and then sometimes we have to specify which one, unsweet or sweet what? Sweet tea or unsweet. So we can know what the marriage is. So just because you are married, that doesn't mean you lose your individuality. You become a husband. You become a wife. But you don't lose your identity. So please, don't just protect your marital status. Build your marital relationship. Because you can have the certificate and lose the connection. You can share a house while your hearts move farther apart. You can be legally together while relationally living separately. So perhaps the most important question isn't simply, are we married? The deeper kingdom question is, are you becoming one? And how you manage live and cleave will determine if you are becoming one. Don't just stay married. Learn to live married. May the Lord bless you. Don't just stay. Learn to live married. So, right. Have a blessed day. See you next Sunday.